get the gods and all of that. Now, in the mock heroic, mock epic, we also get the trivial subject is overstated. Okay, now, let's see. Logan. Okay. And you can't miss this question. Out of all of these and what you studied with me before, what's the most interesting, like pick 3 important things out of that list?
The muse, the battles, and the supernatural machinery.
Yeah, those are good ones. The muse. Oh, I have battles twice. Yeah, that's a good way to tell that it's important when I write it up here accidentally twice. Okay, the battles and the supernatural machinery. Because anybody can tell that it's divided into books or cantos, and other stuff gets divided. Speech of heroes, okay. Yeah, I would say the battles, the sylphs, and the invocation of the muse. If you were going to remember 3 things and really work on them, find them in the poem and stuff like that, I'd pick those 3 probably. Maybe the statement of the theme, and the fact that it's a trivial subject that's overstated. You know, that could be nice too. But those 3 are the ones. I'm not going to probably come along and ask you to find examples of epic simile. It's not that big of a deal. Speeches of heroes, nah. Okay, so those are 3 that are kind of, you might really focus on. Okay, so we've got this. This is one way of knowing that it's connected to that tradition of the epic poem, but it's not the Iliad, it's not the Odyssey, it's not that long, but it's kind of made out to be fancy like those are, okay? But one thing that we do want to pay attention to is that it is, you know, it's this reintroduction of an ancient form or a more traditional classical form. And that's why we're looking at it as neoclassical literature, because there's a return to that age when things that are reasonable, rational, there's an emphasis on form and structure, that sort of thing is important. And we want to think about that in terms of the time as well. If you look at Alexander Pope's dates, we've got on page 489, born in 1688, died in 1744. Okay, we're about the same time as Swift. We're close to the time of Swift here. We're also coming into the Age of Reason, and when we want to think about this, the Age of Reason, what happened about 20 years after he died, 25 years after he died? What was the big event? What? The Revolutionary War, the Declaration of Independence, the Revolutionary War. You have the advent again of democracy. Where was the first democracy? First one, Athens, thank you. Ancient Greece, Athens. First democracy in ancient Greece and Athens. Yes, it wasn't quite the same kind of democracy that we have here. But we see some of that return to the classical Greece and Rome for information, for knowledge, for kind of guiding us in the way that we think. And then applying it in this era, the Age of Reason. We're going to try to be rational, reasonable about the way that we govern. We're going to try to have democracy, let people rule based on the way that they think. Okay, so let's look at some of the characteristics of the Age of Reason. Okay. And do y'all remember what's so great about the Houyhnhnms? What's different? What's the difference between the Houyhnhnms and the Yahoos that's in Gulliver's Travels?
Also, I can.
Oh,
Never mind. Christian Alexander.
I feel like I'm watching a tennis match.
I was just gonna say, like, the Houyhnhnms have reason and like have intelligence and
And what's wrong with those yahoos?
They're animalistic and like,
Yeah, the yahoos look like people, but they're all animalistic, they're instinct, they're
malformed.
malformed. The yahoos are based on emotion, passion, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, the Wenhams that look like horses are actually the rational animals, right? They're very rational. The Wenhams are the horses that, they look like horses, but they're, yeah, I have to always be careful to make sure I'm saying it right. The Wenhams are the horses, but they are the rational animals. And they, how do they marry? How do they choose who to marry? Did y'all read this?
Isn't it based on like what's better for the whole community?
Yeah, based on what's better for the whole community. And so it's not like the horses go out on dates and fall in love. The Wenhams don't do that. It's, pretty mane, nice color coat, strength. You know, they kind of measure out their positive. Pardon?
Like arranged marriage?
It's arranged marriage. There isn't any love involved in it. And by the way, if one couple has an extra child and another couple doesn't have a child, what do they do? Yeah. Oh, you got two here. We'll take one. Huh. Come take my child. I'll eat you up. Yeah. But no, it's a rational thing to do, right? It's like, you know, share the.
What's best?
Yes, it's what's best for the community, right?
But it's a community that works, so like they never have problems, right?
That's right.
Like they meet, like, don't they meet like counsel every 4 years
Mm-hmm.
to discuss problems, but there really isn't any problems?
Yes, and they don't even have a word for lying, right? It's the one who speaks that which is not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's very orderly and everything, but then what happens to Gulliver?
Doesn't he start to like get under that influence that this life is right and that other societies that he's gone to is, like, this one makes more sense.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go back to like.
He doesn't want to go back. Wants to stay there, right? So there's something to be said for this age of reason. Although we're going to talk about whether the Wenhams are perfect next time or not. You know, what do we think of that? Because at this time, the age of reason is all about thinking for oneself. Age of reason. Thinking for oneself. Good. You have self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is important. This isn't like self-actualization. I'm going to go meditate under a pyramid and, you know, get in touch with my feelings and about whatever and eat granola. It's really knowing what you're about. It's like knowledge. It's not feelings. So it's self-knowledge. Self-control. Rationalism. Not whether I love my child. I mean, I'm going with the Wenhams, I'm going to the extreme here. It's not whether I love my child. It's better for the common good that, you know, we share these kids. The rule of law. Order. Decorum. In public. In private.
Dr. Andy, what does that mean?
Decorum, being proper.
Okay.
So you wouldn't want to make a fuss. Don't start anything.
The manning should use it.
If you are in this class, you behave this way. If you're, you know, whatever your station is like, you know, you should always never wear white after Labor Day. It values the Apollonian mindset. Okay, so you've got a return to an appreciation of things like Roman architecture, emphasis on form and structure. Emphasis on skill rather than expression.